This is an interview with my grandmother, Anna Boehnke LaBonte. Grammy, what was the year you were born in, and in what country were you born?
1901 in Germany.
How old would that make you?
78.
Could you fill us in on some of the events that happened before you immigrated to the United States?
Did you ask? You haven't asked me. Father come to this country in 1903 because he didn't want to serve in the German army. In that country, in Germany, every young man had to serve when they reached 21. He came to this country alone, and in 1908 he sent for my mother, and she come out here, and I was left with my mother's sister in Poland under Russia. And I was there till 1912. Then I went to Germany to my grandparents and stayed with them till 1914. Then my father sent for me, and I come to this country in 1914, July 5th.
When you were in Poland, you mentioned something about not being able to go to school. Could you explain this?
Because Russia wouldn't let the Polish people learn. And there was a man in the village who was trying to teach us children, but when a policeman was coming, we used to have to go in the field, make believe we were playing. We used to have to run out in the back way so they wouldn't see us.
So the Russians wouldn't allow you to be educated?
No. Yes, that's right. They wouldn't allow us to be educated.
How old were you when you came over to the United States?
13.
Could you describe the trip over on the way over?
Well, I was on a boat, German boat, and we were on 7 days on it, and it was scary for me, but I was on second class boat. I don't know how you would describe that passage, second class passage. And at times I was kind of afraid because I was alone, but I had a tag on me that somebody was supposed to look out for me, but never knew anyone with me. Then one of the sailors come and they told me to go. There was a family with children, and they brought me over their place, and we slept there in a bunk, different bunks each we had on the German ship.
Were the conditions good?
Yeah, they were not good. The food was good and everything.
Where did you land when you came to the United States?
In Ellis Island, New York.
Could you tell us about your experience on Ellis Island?
Well, I was there for 4 days because they were going to send me alone to Worcester, but then they sent my father a telegram that he had to come after me. So he come up, and they asked me if I knew my father, if that was my father, and I told them, well, he looked like the picture, and I had to tell him that he looked like my father.
Yeah, because you haven't seen him since you were 2 years old?
I haven't seen him since I was 2 years old, but he did look like the picture, because they had to be very careful, because at that time there was a lot of white slavery going on around that part, that they were afraid that's why my father had to come after me from Worcester.
What did you do and where did you go when you first came here?
I went to Worcester and lived with my parents. In September I went to school, 17th Street School in Worcester. And I went to school for 2 years, and I went to work.
You were in a special class because you couldn't speak English?
Yeah, I was in a special class. We had to learn from a special book that gave us, we had to say, this is my hand and my head, things like that, so we could learn the language.
How old were you when you went to work, and where did you work?
I was 14, and I worked on Water Street sewing. And we went to work from 6 till 4 o'clock, and from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
And how much did you make?
$4.50 a week. Those who were 16 years old had to work from 6 o'clock till 6 o'clock at night, from 6 in the morning.
What did your friends and your family do for entertainment?
The families, all different families gathered in one house, and a couple men would be playing the accordion and the fiddle, and they would dance and entertain ourselves like that and sing, do a lot of singing. Grandmothers down to the babies, everybody was having fun.
Do Did you agree with some of the things that girls were doing, such as drinking, smoking, wearing makeup, and getting a haircut, things like that?
No, because even if you had a haircut, it was considered bad. So that was something that we never did. Well, we lived, it was all European people, and we were all sort of in that sort of a group that never considered those things.
Did you or your husband enjoy any of the modern conveniences of the 1920s?
We didn't have any modern conveniences. We only had ice box with icemen bringing ice, and no radio or anything like that. No,
No vacuum cleaner?
no vacuum, nothing, none of that stuff. Broom was our thing.
Was it rough?
Yes, it was rough, but we sort of were used to it.
Did Prohibition affect you or your husband?
It didn't affect me personally, but I see a lot of things going that was bad. There was a lot of people drinking bad stuff. They were going blind, and there was a lot of young boys were drinking, where before we never see them drink.
Did you agree with Prohibition?
No, because it made matters worse. People that didn't drink before drank during probation.
Well, it's just like it was a challenge for them?
Yeah, it seemed that way as though because they thought that they were forbidden, so there was more of a challenge to them, yeah.
Do you remember any of the famous happenings in the 1920s, such as St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
I remember reading about it, but I don't know the facts.
Okay, how about the Sacco and Vanzetti trial?
That was, yeah, I read that followed that right up in the papers. It was very sad at times. One of the little girls of the man was pleading not to kill her daddy. Yeah, and they did get the electric chair.
How about the Scopes trial?
A scope, what was that? I don't remember that one.
Okay, how about the Loeb trial?
That I remember, I was reading about it very much. Yeah, that was very bad, with the young boy being killed. Which young fellas kidnapped this boy, and they killed him, and then they wanted ransom money for him. So that was bad.
Remember Lindbergh flying across the Atlantic?
Yes, I do remember that. I was reading about it.
Did it excite you or anything?
Yeah, everybody was excited then.
What were you doing the day the stock market crashed?
Working in a woolen mill. I and my husband both were working.
How did this affect you? What did you think of it?
Well, there was a lot of people that were jumping out of the windows, committing suicide. It didn't affect me, but the only thing we were worried about the jobs, how it was going to be.
After the stock market crashed, we got into the Depression. What was it like living in the Depression, and how did it affect you?
It was very bad. Nobody was working. My husband only worked 4 months out of 4 years, and we had hard time to live. And it was very bad for us. We had 4 children to support. My husband wasn't working. We went on the welfare, and the welfare was very bad because we used to tell them what we needed and mark it down, and then they'd give the list to the grocers, and the grocers would send us what they couldn't sell. We'd have smoked shoulders that would come green. We'd have to cut the green off to eat it. Eggs the yolks were black. We couldn't eat them. They'd send them, but we couldn't eat them. Till about a year, it went on like that. Then people started to complain. Then they changed it around, and they started giving us vouchers so we could go to a different store. Maybe we got less food, but we got better food.
So did you make way with what you could get?
But we had a hard time, but we managed. And then the WPA came on. Then my husband started working on WPA.
What is WPA?
Well, they were working for 2 weeks. We didn't get pay, and they'd get $26 every 2 weeks paid. That's during Roosevelt's administration.
Did you and the people of that time blame Hoover for the Depression?
Yes, everybody blamed Hoover for the Depression.
Do you think it was his fault?
I still do.
You still do, right. Why did you blame Hoover?
Well, after Roosevelt got in, he had the WPA, and it helped a little. We got clothing from WPA and food from WPA, so that helped. Little food was coming and little work, so that was much better than during Hoover's administration.
So things improved after Hoover was out?
Yes, they did. We never had Social Security before Roosevelt got in. When Roosevelt got in, he got Social Security, and that was a big help to people when they got out of work.
Okay, I want to go back a little bit now. They say that people in other countries believe that Americans live wealthy. What was your impression of America when you first got here?
Well, I was disappointed because it looked very dreary to me on a train ride from New York to Worcester. But after a while being here, I realized that it's a very beautiful country, and I'm very glad that I'm here because I know that things are much better here than in other countries.
Okay, thank you very much for your time for this interview, Grammy, and I hope I get an A+ on this project.
Too.